This is the Surefire Fantasy Football League, brought to you by Someone's Basement, Monocle Man Will Schumann, Lawn Barber Zach Button, Money Man Michael Lover.
It's not faded out yet. You gotta give me a second for it to fade out.
Yeah, that's on me.
Spotify fades in and fades out.
Amateurs over here. They don't know how to host a podcast like I do on all my insanely popular podcasts that I've hosted over the years. There's Surefire Fantasy Edition 1.
Yeah.
Surefire Fantasy Edition 2, which was kind of last year's. And
Yep.
this one, Surefire Fantasy Football Week 3.
There it is.
That one.
We're here.
God.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Surefire Fantasy Football Podcast episode, I guess, 3, however you want to call it, 4. We're going into week 3. We're going to call it week 3.
His numbers. He can't.
I'll start
it's
calling
so
it week
confusing.
3. Welcome to Surefire Fantasy Football Week 3.
There it is. That's correct.
/2.
No. 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 It's
Because
always.
we're talking
3.
about some things that happened in week 2.
Well, yeah. Just to recap.
That's
move
why
past
it's
it.
hard. See, you guys don't understand the pressures and the stresses of being a host
get
on
it.
a
I get it.
podcast.
We-
But anyways, everybody, I'm sorry, I got a little ranty. Welcome
It's
again.
making it more than it is.
We forgot to start the timer, but we're gonna start it now. So the timer.
It's because we had to do another take because you
Hit the
messed
timer!
the first one up.
Hit it! Let's
No,
go.
It's because you did your take and that counted.
Yeah, I had it started last time and you were creepy.
Well,
can I actually say how creepy you've been? The last 4 days, you have shown up behind me 3 of the 4 days
That
in the
is
most random places. Walgreens, restaurants,
Walgreens again.
and Walgreens again. Yeah. Creeping me out in the middle of the day at 10
Weirdest
a.m.,
thing.
noon,
I don't know what's going on.
8 o'clock. I see you everywhere. And it's
I
creeping
literally
me
thought
out.
today as I pulled up to Walgreens, I thought, man, it'd be freaking weird if I saw Zach again. And I walked in there and I saw Zach, the exact same place I'd seen him the day before at a completely different time in Walgreens at the pharmacy. And I was like, I wasn't surprised at all. I was like, hey, Zach. Like, it's just like I expected it.
I wonder if they think we're buying stuff to make better drugs or something at this
Yeah,
point.
better
So,
drugs. That's
yeah.
what we need. Because
Hey,
the
it's-
drugs right now aren't good enough for me.
Well, that's why they put them behind. You got the Sudafed.
Remember, better drugs, better people, Papa John's. No, I should have said Walgreens, damn it.
Yeah,
Walgreens.
that was good though.
All right. So, we've already done our recording for our guest this week. It was a really good one. It ran a little bit long, but, I think it's good that we have our guest on. We got into more than we expected to with the guest.
Well, it was
we
hard
like doing that.
because we'll talk about it, but there were actually a lot of trades, and there were 2 people involved in a lot of the trades,
In
so
every single one.
it made it a little difficult.
I was surprised when I heard that you and me were involved in every single trade.
We're active.
Yeah, we are active. Both of us were tilting. One of us was a lot harder than the other one.
Take a pick on which one it was.
One of us. We both did the opposite thing too. You played for sell high, buy low.
Yeah.
I did the opposite.
Yeah,
And most likely yours will win because I'm the only person in the world who seems to like my team. And even I don't like my team that much.
that's a sneak peek into the rankings, I think. But
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wait. Do we have to
No, we
well,
gotta do
yeah,
it.
this is where you get confused. We're going to talk about week 2, just in a quick recap of how the games went.
We have an outline.
And yeah, it's on the computer. It's right here.
We just did a whole thing with Robin, and I'm amped up.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, I just announced who the guest is.
Yeah.
Dashing young fella.
Robin,
yes.
dashing young fella.
He stepped the game up one more time.
did, he
Everyone just
did.
add in something. So whoever comes on last, good luck.
And the cool thing he did that I really liked was he had a full chub during it so that we knew
there it is.
he was committed to the bit.
He was. Gosh.
I'm sorry. I'm hyper. Let's go. I already cussed. The podcast is already screwed. So,
Already messed up.
but I'm trying to cuss as little as
F it.
possible. Yep. F it.
But I'd like to talk about the matchups, but I think you have to read the potentially could be considered the poo bowl of last week.
No, what? He said this earlier.
We
He'll see
both
this.
had-
He'll say this.
He's
later.
saying the poo bowl of last week.
He's calling my matchup and his matchup a poo bowl. Me and Mike play each other. He's calling it a poo bowl
No.
already.
I'm talking
I
about
thought he was
last
talking
week's.
about mine.
Oh, I'm
about
sorry.
last week's.
Anyways. So yeah, getting into the results here. So
I didn't realize. Sorry, everybody. I didn't even read the outline. Here we go.
So we got Monaco Man versus Motley Crue, which are these two fine gentlemen over here. Who do you think won?
Well, I was there, and CEH did not win it for
Went
you.
off.
Congratulations, Mike, for getting CEH.
Yep, we'll
You're
get
gonna
into
love
that.
him. He's in a good place right now
He'll
too,
be
just like
fine.
Josh Jacobs.
But the total score for that was Zach, who is Motley Crue at 108, and Monaco Man, which is this feller over here,
Dashing
at
young man.
100.4.
And Robin lied to me.
0-2.
Robin, we were at my house. You came to my house. I invited you over. You sat in my chair and my couch. You used my charger. And you told me that if me and Zach were tied going into that matchup and I had CEH, that I would win.
Tyson Williams.
You told me that. And you lied.
I think there's other
We need a
matchups
moment
of
of
the week
silence.
that we can.
We do not.
Okay.
Tyson Williams.
I
for
lost that
the win.
matchup because CEH stinks, and I don't regret that trade. I don't know. That stunk. Mike did win. I'm sorry, Zach did win.
I did.
I play Mike this week. It's a podcast. It's a
Yeah.
nice little podcast stretch right now.
you
It'd be
okay?
cool if you two play each other next week.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I don't
Might,
know.
actually.
Do
I
you?
don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
clue.
I don't look that
Well,
far
That's
ahead.
next week's podcast.
That's week 4.
Yeah.
You'll get that right. So
Matchup number 2 was Kevin versus Brad, and this matchup was actually great. This matchup was really
amazing.
freaking good.
Matchup
Monday
of the
Night
week.
Magic.
Yep.
Well, maybe not matchup of the week.
Nah, it ended up being matchup of the week.
I think Logan.
There
and
was
Dalton might
Logan's
win.
was interesting, but
I think the tier of teams at this point, when you're talking, what Kevin's been scoring and things like that, I would say this one was more match
and
of the week.
considering
but
everything, you
there were
thought
two.
Swift would contribute to being the reason that Brad won, but no, it was just Adams.
Hold score in those games.
Jones.
I'm sorry, Jones. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah. So for the details, Beer Bongs Brad won 133.1 to Kyler's Kevin at 126, and he had a very commanding lead. I can't remember the exact lead
Like 40.
he had. It was quite
And
large
38 of it came from Arizona.
from Aaron Jones. And you guys had a prop bet of 40 points, and Henry got it, and
And
Aaron
Jones
Jones
was so
almost
close.
had it, and that's pretty wild.
But
So
no one took it, so
Yeah.
the house stays alive for another
well,
day.
stays alive on that since you guys are
Yeah, 'cause
making
we
much
would've got
money.
reamed on
Yeah. Third matchup, bad performance.
This is the one.
Yeah.
Bad
By
Good.
match.
Money Man Mike, 94.86.
With a 35-point performance from Cup.
And to Watson's Happy Endings, Q Daddy
With a
at
45
122.
Point performance from
Two.
Mr. Henry over
Yeah,
there.
2 guys popped off. So
Take away those 2 guys, and you guys had quite a matchup.
Yeah,
And Mike still wins.
no.
No, take away those 2 guys, and Mike does.
No,
What was the score
it'd
then?
be 80 to 60.
He beat
Oh,
me by 20.
okay,
never mind.
60.
Wow.
You hear that 60?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so
Well,
that's rough.
There's all. I mean, you expect
Why I
somebody's got to go
traded.
off. Yep, and there was tilting everywhere. Mike's kind of tilting is a lot more strong, I think, maybe than my tilting. He tilts and gets good players, or at least proven players. I tilt and get unproven players, and it's never worked for me before, but I still do it. Why do I?
Do you
can't
offer the
figure.
trade? Like, I think for me, I
It's a little
expect you
bit of
to
both.
package more, and you just say like,
No, it's usually
"See ya, take you for whatever," and I get draft capital and all that. You can't consider it, but like,
no.
you just go like down the list. I feel like,
Yeah,
like who's on your bench or who's in your flex spot. That's who I want.
yeah. The next matchup, the 0-2 Dream Team.
The Dream Team.
He went back to
Team Dream.
Dream Team.
the Dream Team.
Yeah.
I don't
The
remember.
Deem Team.
My Jordan's team is now 0-2, everybody, and that is something to think about considering he scored this. I mean, poor guy. He scored the second most points last week. He's now 0-2.
Point system. That's all he's gonna say.
Yeah.
Point system.
I don't feel too bad.
He lost to Full Chubb, our guest coming up here in a little bit. Full Chubb. My takeaway from Robin's team is. It's
Quiet.
yeah, it's good.
quiet,
It's
yep.
always there's no, at least so far, and it's what I expected, and I think what a lot of us expected. It's consistent. Its floor is high. Its ceiling is probably kind of high, but I mean it's not like his ceiling is crazy. he's a solid team so far around. I mean the whole
Look
week
out for that man.
we were with him, right? I mean, and we were watching that game with them, and nobody was popping off for him. He was acting all kind of like bummed, but like he was getting points consistently all day as the week went on, and that's what I expect his team to do all year long. He beat Jordan pretty handedly in the end. Jordan is now 0-2, and the last matchup was the closest in terms of the final.
Heartbreak for someone.
Yep, and that's Zeke and Destroy, aka Logan, our filler host last week, versus Bella Check and Destroy.
No, Bell, check yourself or something.
Yeah.
Who freaking? Yeah, that's what it is. Zach's just got it written down as Belichick here. I'm sorry, everybody.
Bell, check and
No, shh, don't tell anybody I said that. You guys didn't hear that.
Belichick
yourself.
by less than 1 point.
Dalton, by the way, is the one who won. He's the Belichick team.
That's heartbreaking.
Yep.
Yeah, like what, 0.9 is what it came in at.
He got what he expected and wanted out of Hawkinson when he drafted him, but it was barely not
And
enough.
the thing is, he did not tilt, and as he shouldn't. I don't think he tilted with the trade that he made.
No.
We'll get into that later on, but I don't feel like he tilted at all. So
No, me either.
I think
He just wanted to refresh.
yeah, just a little refresh, and you're always looking to make your team
Logan's
better.
team, I do feel for him because the people he did spend a lot of draft capital in are probably failing him the most out of anyone. Like he's in a very tough spot.
I'll give him this. At least his team name is not I will not trade this year, because he did trade, and in some people's mind, that trade was beneficial for his team. And not trading and going into it with that mindset, in my opinion, not a good idea. But he did trade this year.
Did.
Sorry for that loss. Logan is now, what would we say, 1-1? They're both 1-1. Oh, he's 0-2.
Yep.
He is 0-2. And
Dalton's
Dalton is 1-1. Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
We had some exciting waivers.
Thank you. Yeah, you go.
We're gonna move on.
Yeah,
We're just
you
gonna
go.
move on to that. Move past it. Good old waiver day, and it really wasn't as exciting in the terms of who was available, but I'm quite shocked in the amount of money that was spent collectively. Honestly, like last week we expected some type of money, but not $87, and then there were some hot topics out here, and we actually had 2 top waiver picks tied at $23. Actually, it was both of you guys. Will picked up Cordell Patterson, wide receiver running back, and you picked up Randall Moore, wide receiver.
Got out of Purdue.
Just more and more proof that I'm just the worst. Mike nailed it. He got it by $2. And I nailed it. I got it by 20.
Did you really?
Yeah, next highest bid was
for
3.
Cordell, and he put 20.
But
Oh
why
my
though?
gosh.
Why was next highest bid for Cordell 3?
Was it Mike Davis? I guess. I don't
Running
know.
backs are important.
I think Cordell Patterson should have went for more, or $23 is accurate, but I feel like he should have more action.
I was super surprised.
That surprised me.
Because I was all over the place. At one point, I had him at like 32. At one point, I had him at 18. I was all
Dang.
over the place.
My question is, I mean, we have this money to spend. Why would you save if you think there's a talent out there? That's kind of my argument on it.
I would have put a bet on Patterson. The time got away from me, but it would have been like 10.
Yeah, that's probably what I would have put,
my
10 or
thing
11.
for Moore, and I think Moore went for the right price. I could even see Moore going for more.
Yeah. More for more.
More for more. And
I had 21 at the
I've heard a
beginning
lot
of
of
the day, by
jokes
the way.
about Moore.
Ooh, then that was
Interesting.
Robin, right? By $2.
Yeah, well, I think Coleman was 21, and I went to 23 like 30 minutes before.
So when you tie, it then comes to like waiver claim,
Yeah.
like in the sense of the order, right?
Yeah.
I think I would have gotten it.
So my thing with Moore is, and there's been a lot of talk about him on lots of different shows, and I think he's great and has the potential to explode like he has done. But I think that I don't think you can expect anywhere near. I mean, if you're expecting the Cardinals to project the way they've projected this year, you're expecting Kyler Murray to have the greatest single season of all time by a lot. So that does not continue because he's right now at 9 touchdowns. So that does not continue. So, you're already taking away that. You're giving in harder opponents, and you have the fact that at the absolute peak for Moore, he is the 2.
Yeah. He probably
Absolute
is the
peak.
2.
I don't think he's the 2 fantasy-wise. I think if you're playing, if that team is playing to try to get a touchdown, he's the 3, because I think AJ Green surpasses that.
But see, I
And
think
then there's rushing.
that helps him. I think he's viewed as a 3, which makes him not
But the
a
problem,
threat to the
the problem
defense.
is he can be that kind of guy too, but so can Kirk. And I put him above
That's
Kirk,
fair.
yes, but Kirk still takes away from that sneaky part of him.
The
So he is insanely capped, and he has He's a lower floor than anybody I can possibly imagine with as high as his ceiling is. That's my problem with him. I'm not saying he's not good,
confused.
but you can't feel confident starting him, in my opinion.
I would didn't plan on starting unless I have issues.
I think where it is, he was a stash. He was drafted in many leagues, but we are in week 2. He is a rookie. He wasn't super highly touted in the sense of like being one of the premier guys. And he is already being worked into that offense and that level. Kyler wanted him. Yep. Yeah, so that has to say a lot.
I love him, and that's why I don't think he went for too little.
It's kind of similar in the same wavelength, and obviously this is a tough comparison, but Justin Jefferson, he started the year off rough, and he was just getting acclimated where Rondale Moore's already producing.
But Justin Jefferson is, not only can be, but is the one on that team.
Yeah, but not at the time.
But he was the 2.
At the time, he was all. But he went into it. He went into that season like. Here's the thing. Here's my thing.
I literally dropped Justin Jefferson last year because.
But here's my thing with that though. Like in that wavelength is, if you're talking about Adam Thielen versus DeAndre Hopkins, you can see Justin Jefferson overtaking it. There's no world whatsoever other than an injury to Hopkins where Moore takes over the
but
number
no one
one.
wants that. I mean, you're talking way tier to like look at Robbie Anderson.
I know, but I'm already
taking
that's my one thing is I'm saying that you're capping his ceiling already at the 2. You're capping his ceiling, but his floor is already that team as a throwing team with talent. Like AJ Green has proven over his entire career that he's a great wide receiver. So your floor can be low. I'm not saying it is, but that's my one worry. That's why I didn't put a big. That's why personally I didn't put a big.
He's a
bet on
depth
him.
piece for me. It's like if I need to start someone with the buys coming up, someone I'll plug in and I feel okay with it. Other than like.
And I heard Kevin saying, in the sense of a stack and a big play potential, like that could help him in that same scenario.
Yeah,
I think the only other like really big waiver pickup that's like needs to be talked about will be the Carolina Panthers defense. Now we kind of talked about it after it happened in our group chat that a defense went for $9. That's crazy. But I'm telling you, I would have taken that defense for $9. I mean, if I would have known that there was a bid for $9, I would have put $10 on that defense. That defense is worth it. That defense has not played anybody proven yet, but I'm telling you it's good, and this week it's a matchup winner possibly.
Yeah, so are you viewing that as just a 1 week matchup or like a start and just let it be?
I'm not necessarily guaranteeing it's a start and let it be. I do know the schedule to a degree. I know that they have a couple, not the next matchup. The next matchup's actually good, but the one after that is tough. I can't remember who it is. But whatever you want to say about that first game of the year for New Orleans, Green Bay, I mean, they shut New Orleans, who threw 5 passing touchdowns. They shut them down so hard. And they have talented players on their defense. And during the offseason, at least based on everything I've listened to, during the offseason, they made that a priority. And this week especially, considering the matchup against an already bad team with now a backup quarterback who is not a touted draft pick. This guy's
National,
Moore, right?
too.
What's his name? Is it Moore? Yeah, another Moore.
I think.
Yeah. It's gonna be bad. So it could potentially be a matchup winner because having a good defense. I know it's not going to be a massive points, Mills. Thank you, but having a good enough defense, people don't have that. So you're getting points on your team, on your opponent. So I am so about that $9 that Full Chubb spent.
If it can win you a matchup, more power to you.
Yeah, like I said, the money you go spend it. Some other notable ones: Michael Carter, running back for the Jets; Jeff Wilson, currently on the IR for the 49ers; McKissick, and then KJ Osborne, another third wide receiver for the Vikings.
Hey, Coleman, I saw you want Michael Carter. Just hit me up, buddy. I'll give you him for Henry.
Like that.
Let's get to the juicy stuff, the good stuff.
The rankings.
The rankings.
Rankings. That's
everyone's favorite part.
It
I would
is.
say so. It's controversial a little bit.
I still think we're like a week or two away from it getting really fun, but we did have like the biggest drop of all time, I think. Almost, maybe all time. I don't know, but and some sneaky movers. I think we still have some consistency
I think
out
it
there.
may be the biggest drop of all time. I'm not saying it's necessarily justified, but it has to have been done
There were 10
based
people.
on what happened.
Yeah. there
So
were
I
10
think
people.
with ranking, you rank people based off where they are now, but then you project them forward, and I think that needs to be.
The way I see it, it needs to be. I think they should be projected, at least personally,
Yeah.
based on where you think they will finish.
Yeah.
And to do that, yes. No. I know that's what you were saying.
You heard it from Will.
No. I know what you were saying.
Okay, sorry. I was
What
like,
I'm trying to say here is like, so let's say a team is 0-2. You rank them high? You truly believe they will finish around there? I know that towards the end of last season, before some COVID stuff happened and we weren't able to keep recording, people were still getting ranked a little too high for people that were most likely not going to make the playoff. I mean, their chances were so low, whether or not you liked their team. But right now, like Zach said, it's hard to get too heated because it's early enough and it's a 6-man, so more than half the league is making playoffs. So you can still get away with ranking a team that's not doing great high up.
And trades are a factor right now, and I mean I think that's where I hope we get more weeks in your gosh, why am I going brain dead? Your record will play more of a factor. But right now it's hard. I mean 0-2, you're gonna make the playoffs.
Well, and the other reason I brought that up about how it needs to be based on what you project is I think that based on and we see all the rankings, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like, at least to me, sometimes the rankings are actually the other way around, too high for the good record teams. At least these first 2 weeks, a team that is 1-0 or 2-0 is getting ranked really highly by some people when over just a 1-1 team, just because they have a better record. And I'm not sure if that's actually true or not, but that's just the way, personally, for me, I see it. And I just wonder. And I'm not saying change the way you rank. I'm just saying that. It seems like maybe that's happening, and if that is, I mean, it's up to you. That's what makes it fun.
It's just a projection forward, I think, like you're saying. So, and like I think everybody's accurately ranked this week.
Yeah, because if not, we would just put the standings from. ESPN
That's why we do a
up.
consensus, and that's why we don't tell everybody's rankings. Because
Everybody has
yes, if we did it by every individual, there would be some anomalies. But yes, I do agree that it's pretty accurately ranked.
Well, we had 2 consistent things from last week, and it was. Started at the bottom, and Will, you came in at 10 on this one.
And it finished at the top. We might as well just say it, right?
Huh?
Start at the top, or ended at the top.
Yeah. They're still league favorite.
I think it's interesting. I mean, I don't think anyone will doubt it. Yeah. Everyone knows. I think it's interesting that our pillars, unfortunately, stayed the same. So our top and bottom stayed the same, and everybody else moved, and a lot of us moved quite a bit.
Yeah, there were some big movers as a whole. But what I found the most interesting is when we're talking about the bottom and the top, and we're talking about averages. You averaged nearly towards a 9 rank.
No, not nearly.
A 9 rank? Did everyone rank you?
9.0.
No, I was 9 every single. No,
every single person.
And I didn't expect anything better.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a single vote that was not a 9.
And then Robin came in at a 1.3. Obviously, we're not going to go through here and talk about everyone's average as a whole, but I think that does show, like you said, the pillars. And then it is
1.3, and that's
very close from then on out.
Yeah, that doesn't sound maybe as impressive as it is, but I mean that means he got. So first off, he didn't get a single ranking below a 2.
Nope.
And I think.
Told you, Robin. I respected you now.
I think his absolute. I think he only got 2 or 3. I think it was 3. I think he got 3 rankings that were not first. So, and this guy has stayed solid all year. I mean, it is impressive.
It is.
I'm glad we had him on too. I think
he was a good.
Gave some insight and stuff.
He's a hot topic right now.
It's interesting to get his take on things. Too,
yeah.
So stay tuned for that.
Number 9 was our biggest, and I'll let when you guys take this. I didn't rank him at 9 or 8. I'm sorry, I didn't rank him at 8 either.
I don't remember where I ranked him. I think it's Jordan at 9, which I think is a little surprising.
It was our biggest fall.
At the same time, he's 0-2. He's coming off a really bad week. And I think these other teams might be a little better, and maybe he has some question marks moving forward. He's got some injury issues. Antonio Brown's going to be out this week.
Got that. You also got Robinson.
Cooper could be out too. Robinson's a question mark. Yeah. And I like his team. I even said I think he's got a chance to win it all, but it literally just came all down for him this
It
week.
couldn't have worked out worse for him, and
Yeah,
the reason he fell because he only lost week 1 because he was the second highest scoring team and lost the first.
Yep.
But then the fact that he lost again to make him 0-2, and it being the second lowest scoring points in the league, under 100,
It's scary.
when you see that, you can't not
That's
rank
all
that
you
low.
remember, yeah.
Yeah.
And now he does have issues. I think he has a big revolving door with his depth, but are you going to choose the right person? And he did not choose the right person with Antonio Brown last week. And you go factor injuries and different things
And
into
now
it.
he's COVID. He's in.
It's going to be interesting.
Big week for him.
Kind of come up in the next batch here. We kind of had some of our traders, not traitors, but the people that were involved in some trades and coming in at 8, which a lot of people kind of thought won the trade. So I kind of find this interesting. Was Logan down 1 spot, now at 8.
Now let's just say with Logan, up until the last person vote ranked, he was tied for 6th. There was the last voter or the last person who put and it was close between 3 people. He got a very nice vote at 3, which did help him. I think most of these people down here at lower didn't get that vote anywhere near that high. But the nice thing for Logan, I think the reason he got that vote was the person who voted on him did really like the trades that he had made. They liked the moves he had made. And I do agree with that a lot. I agree that he made very good moves. But also, you have to look at he's 0-2, and he made moves. So, I mean, it means he's not confident in his team, and now he's got a completely different team. So this team is not the team that you were ranking
It's a different
before.
team you're ranking.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think you take that into account. I think you're one of the highest on him. I don't know if we touched on it enough in the interview about his team. So you want to say something about it real quick?
I think, well, we did talk about the trade.
We
and
talked
where
about the
I
trade, and we like his players. But yeah.
I like where I personally I like the trade more for him, and I like his team a lot, and I have all year. I think it's kind of the reason I brought this up, to where when you rank people, you're ranking for the future. I don't think 0-2 is a low enough record to rank somebody out of it, because you get in the playoffs, you're in it within a chance to win the whole thing. So, in my opinion, if you even have a chance at the 6th seed, you can be the 1 seed for me. Now, I'm not saying you would be, because you don't get to buy.
Right.
But I'm not even somewhat ruling Logan out. I mean, he could literally be in the playoffs
Everyone
after this
can.
week.
I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So, you think about that. He could be in the playoffs after 1 game this week. And I love his trade, and I liked his team before, and now I love it. And if you look at the average points per player, he's got the highest right now in the league. And I know that's a stupid stat that I've been bringing up, but I like that.
I think it's great.
It's valid, though. It is valid. I mean, I guess just real quick on a rundown of his team, and chime in here, Zach. Dak's great. Zeke's great. Montgomery, I love him. Lockett, great. Kupp, great. Hawkinson, great. It's just his fluxes.
Zeke could be a question mark.
I think where he has his questions, he's balanced it. I mean, when you bring in Lockett and Kupp, big play and consistency out of that right now, that is unreal. I definitely think he's the Elijah Mitchell thing. I think he paid off better, and it could come around. And then he went and got Jeff Wilson. Like, I think he's going to have a little bit of issues there. So it could get interesting. He's like all of us. The depth is going to be in question, but he is definitely going to be a ride or die with Zeke. I think that is going to be his issue. And then you have Pollard to add to it.
I think it's cool that he has Pollard too, which is a big factor
for
me.
him. Yeah,
big factor, because Pollard looks really, really good. They're honestly both. You could maybe get away with starting both guys. The next person on our list, and it's going to be 2 different people, and it's also going to be the 2 people sitting next to me. It's these guys. So at one point, Logan and Mike were tied, and this guy was behind him. But due to our last-minute rankings, which finally came in,
which wasn't anybody in the room. Want to make sure that's clear. We didn't mess with anything.
No. It was changed, and Logan fell behind them, and poor old Mike here fell up, down a little bit. Well, actually, Mike stayed the same. He still stayed tied, but now with Zach instead of with Logan, our last guest and our back guest.
Tied at 6 and then number 8.
Yep. We're tied at 6. I mean, maybe we'll take it away. I guess I should.
I
was surprised by some of the rankings, to be honest, but again,
you were the hot commodity all over the place.
I think Mike was the hot commodity. Mike's team was always ranked pretty decently. We've talked about this already, but he traded, but he did not trade bad. He actually traded well. He traded for a higher ceiling than maybe anybody. And in fact, he definitely traded for the highest ceiling in the league. If you're taking ceilings, for me personally, I would take Mike's team has the highest. But he also traded for a lower floor than I think he had before. And I think, for me personally, his floor base, I think he thought that after last week, maybe he needed to trade pieces. And he actually did trade away somebody who had a really low floor, in my opinion, in Robbie.
Yep.
That trade can go either way. That's a good trade. Zach's team is still the same, actually, weirdly, with Zach. Usually Zach's, you're waiting for something to happen. For me, Zach's team is kind of a stagnant team where he's got some guaranteed points and some guaranteed, closer to guaranteed floors. But he pulled away with that win, which gives him a 1-1, which helped him a lot in that. And also, he has Christian McCaffrey, and that's a huge thing that having a running back that's going to get points is just big. So,
points.
I mean, I agree with their rankings. I think that's close to where I had them personally.
I do like to see where this next group is kind of moving. Some of our big risers, and that's Dalt coming in up 3 spots at number 5, and that's good to see because Dalt is in the tier with us, but I think when most people, maybe that's where you're at. I think you maybe thought you'd be a little higher than Dalt when you're looking at teams, but
not necessarily. The Pulse of the League, for the most part, I feel like they disliked my trade.
They did.
That's kind of the pulse I got. So that's fine. I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. So
and Dalt
not
did
overly
make,
surprised, but
I think because Dalt made a trade and he kind of took the opposite side, and kind of similar to you, he took Josh Jacobs for Damian Harris, so he took more of what we're considering a sure thing at this point, and kind of took the injured
love
He
guy.
was able to get a
Love
win
that move.
while getting a guy who
On the
will
bench.
probably be better than Harris. I mean,
Yeah.
unfortunately for me, but he's able to get a win while having him on the bench.
Yeah.
that's huge.
So that's big for him.
Yeah.
He's on an upward tick. So.
As you can see, and it can go from there.
Same for the next person.
He did
Then
have
we
a
got-
Dalvin Cook scare though.
Dalvin Cook's
But
scary.
that's
his
every.
season.
But that's Dalvin Cook,
Yeah,
and it was last year and the year before, and it will always be.
That's Dalton's season for you.
And then we got Mr. Controversial himself. He should change his name to Controversial. We have the guy who put he made sure he got in there. He put his picture in the group chat of his 2-0 team, Coleman Pike,
up 5
aka
spots.
Watson's
Up 5
regrets.
spots,
I think it's well deserved though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's shown. I mean, obviously the week 1 was a skate by win, but he's starting to show what his team can do. Obviously, Derrick Henry is not going to perform like he did week 1. He's not going to perform how he did week 2, but you're starting to see what his team can do more.
Very deserving of his spot. Question marks at the same time, but 2-0, can't argue with it. We will see
I'm worried
what
about
happens
Henderson
with him.
just for him right now because I don't know if he has the depth.
He
to
has
sustain.
no depth.
Yep.
He has no depth. He won the first week because, and at no point in this podcast at all this year have I hyped myself up, but he won that week because I am stupid. He won week 1 because I am stupid and didn't play a superstar player.
There it is.
He won week 2.
We heard it.
He won week 2 on the back of one unbelievable performance.
Well, he did, but he also didn't because
Even if he had,
Mike's
even
pretty
no,
bad.
but if he had a good performance, he still would have lost.
Henry
He had to have
scored-
at least a great performance.
If Henry scores 15, I win.
If Henry scores,
Crazy.
yeah.
I guess that's fair. Yeah.
So I mean, well, but he also, even if he loses that game or wins that game on a lower score, it's not a crazy
But
score.
At the same time, yeah.
But well, that's what I'm getting at. So at the same time, the way I see his team is I see Herbert. It has to happen. Herbert does look great, so that will start taking off. And I think if Herbert takes off, then Allen takes off. I think he's
Henry
got
has-
the potential, but I think he's lucky to be where he's at record-wise. But
Yeah,
I don't disagree
I
with
would
his
agree
ranking because I
100%,
like
yes.
his potential.
He's a 1-1 team.
He
in
should
my
be
mind,
he
but
should be a
he's
1-1
2-0,
team.
So and that's what the record books say.
And I like his potential.
And
I think we all
Henry
like his
has
potential.
great potential too.
But we also don't like his floor of any injuries can dismantle him.
Like that for most
I think we just got to see what this matchup
Lower
is.
floor than most, in my opinion.
This weekend's matchup is big for him. It's big for us. It's going to be exciting to see what that matchup brings for him. So I have to tune in later to hear a little more about that. But
Maybe we get to the next
yeah,
Who do you think's taking you, Kevin? Who do you think's picking you? Because there's a big bet on this.
Coleman?
Oh, sorry, Coleman, not Kevin.
Anyways, there's an interesting
A very big
situation
bet on
in
you,
the
Coleman.
interview, so stay
Somebody bet on you.
tuned. Okay.
Is the prop even in here? Anyways, I'm sorry. We need to move. That's my fault, everybody.
So as we were saying,
You need to win,
definitely
Coleman.
a higher tier net right now, and I think it's just based on performance, record, points scored.
Oh, and we should mention he moved up 5 places.
We did.
Yep, Coleman went up
That's
5
a
places.
lot.
Yeah.
That's a big move
We
up.
talked about the big drop, and that's a big move.
Yep.
So without the picture, I think it was going to happen, but the reminder boded well. So, but coming in number 3 at the bottom of what we're considering the higher tier is Kevin, the highest scoring team in the league. Had a tough loss to some Monday Night Magic, as we mentioned, and I think that was probably the difference maker in the rankings. But
Yeah, 100%.
For me, you can exchange these top 3. They're interchangeable.
Yeah, it's that
Yep.
tier, and
It's a tier.
to be honest, Kevin's behind Brad and Robin because he lost to Brad, like you said.
Yep.
You can't rank someone behind someone.
No.
They-
not that point.
in
I
my-
mean,
in my
Not
opinion.
this early.
not this area. Brad's had
Especially
big
the better
wins and
ones.
has been scoring high enough. I mean,
Exactly. It's
Kevin
early.
is beyond like the highest scoring team at this point, but
Yep.
is that going to sustain? And I think we kind of shared it. That put Kevin down 1. And
Kevin also, for me, the reason that he was below them for me was he's in the same kind of boat. He doesn't have as much depth for me.
yeah,
And I think somewhat with my number 2 ranking and the number 2 ranking, well, we probably know.
Yep.
I don't think that I think the reason the person who's number one is because he's got more depth than the rest.
that's fair. Brad up 2 to number 2, and well deserved. He had 2 pretty big wins, both kind of coming in the second half or into the week. So he hasn't felt confident at any point other than when he makes his bet on himself, and well deserved. But I still think there's some question marks for him with Swift and a few other pieces on his team. So it'll be interesting. I'm really excited for like 2 more weeks to really see the rankings is where I'm at.
I view Brad's team a lot like I view his brother's team. I think it's got an incredibly high ceiling. And when I say brother, I'm talking about my podcast mate, Mike. An incredibly high ceiling with a lower floor. But Brad has gotten to 2-0, and that's probably why he's up there. And also, I mean, everybody else, I mean, there's nothing also to add to it, I guess. He's 2-0. I just
2-0
respect
beat
it.
one of the best teams in the league.
2-0 beating a
Not much
great
more to
team.
say.
Yeah.
Good
His
job on
team's
Jamar
volatile
Chase.
at times, but it's
Good job on
on
Jamar
an
Chase.
upward. It's been volatiling in the right direction, I guess.
Yep.
So,
And
not much
our
more to
number
say.
1,
our guest this
you guys
week.
have already seen him. He's our guest. Yep. He is been our 1 all year long. He stays our 1.
And Mr. Consistent, Robin. So we will
And
talk
he
about
beat-
his team probably a little bit more. But,
If he gets dethroned this week, that'll be the big thing. So
I think the best person to talk about Robin's team is probably Robin.
Yep. And yeah, I think
You wanna
got him
just
on-
go
I think we got
into
him
it?
on the phone here. So
Yeah, we got him on the phone. Let's open the phone lines. Let's
the
get
Lawn Barber
let's,
hotline
let's get this guy in here. Let
Bot.
me find the right buttons to
Yeah.
get this going.
should be a fun one.
Here he is. Robin, are you here? And welcome, Robin, aka Full Chub.
What's
On
going
screen.
Oh, what's going on, fellas?
There he
Full Chub
is.
here.
He's got graphics, everybody.
Yes, sir. As you
Came
can
up.
tell, Full Chub. I might get a T-shirt depending on how the season goes.
Oh, we have options for you.
There he
Flashing Chub.
is.
It ranges from phallic to really phallic.
Oh, absolutely. We'll see
Okay,
how.
cool,
Yeah,
cool.
we'll see the range.
What? What's wrong with phallic? Hey, Mike, your mic is the wrong way there. Mike, other way. There you go. Oh, you got this. Other way. There you. Nice fix. All right. Well, once again, I'm sorry. Welcome, Robin. First time on the podcast. Been in the league for, is it 2 years, 3 years?
This is my second year.
Second year.
This is
Been
my
a-
third
been a-
year. Whoa,
Yeah, this
no,
is your third,
I was
yeah.
gonna say I thought it had been a little bit.
Can't
Yeah, that's
believe that.
messed up, man.
Our
I can't
friendship.
remember.
Yeah.
He doesn't love us.
Well, this is the second year we did the offline
The podcast.
draft.
Yeah.
So, no,
Oh,
offline.
and offline draft. Yeah.
I'm just joshing you.
Hurt
Big-
me.
big point of, well, not even point. I mean, dominating this year, dominating the rankings. Number one, I think as soon as the draft is over? Have he ever fallen? Has he been one the whole time?
He's the clear favorite for sure.
Yeah.
So.
And like by like a 3-point margin too.
The full Chubb is pointy. I'm sorry.
Don't make it weird, man. Come on.
But Robin, I think we have a few questions we like to ask. We like to ask all the league members that come on. I think we probably want to ask you the same questions. Let's just get into that and get out of the phallic type of thing.
Yeah. Get your mind out of the gutter, man. Okay. How we doing today, Robin? You doing good?
Oh, living life, Zach. Lawn barber.
Here.
Yeah, how you doing? You tell me how you doing. How's it over there with Will talking about flaccid chubs?
He's doing weird things over here.
I
when
did
he
not
talks
bring up
about
a flaccid chub once.
Oh, that was me.
So you've been in the league a few years. I'm sure you battled it out with a few people. They've taken a draft pick. Who would you say your rival in the league would be?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. And since the first podcast, who you had on as a guest, I think it was Coleman, I started to think about it. And the first person that came up to my mind was you, Zach, actually, just because I feel like we always had like butted heads on like our teams and like who we think was good and stuff like that. So I'd say I consider you a rival. And then Kevin.
Your first one, Zach?
No, Mike too.
Crap.
I'd say Kevin too, just because it's easy to like argue with Kevin.
I was guessing you'd say Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin would be my other one if I had to, because we always.
When Kevin relishes that's what he wants.
He wants everyone. Yeah. He's probably
all the
upset.
rivals.
Oh yeah, that's Kevin for sure.
I think Kevin just unmentioned. He's everyone's rival that we just don't have to say.
Right.
Yeah. Kevin,
much.
There's a couple people like that, but Kevin's up there.
Zach, I don't know if you'd answer that question or if you would ever be the interviewee.
He will.
Who would yours be?
Oh, he will.
We'll save that.
I'll have to save parts,
Yeah,
but
we'll save that.
It's very difficult because I do have a pretty strong history, but it usually comes down to some pretty big playoff matchups.
Been in there for a while.
Me.
I have a 2 guesses on who it'll be, but we will save that for then.
Yeah.
I think another question we like to ask is the one that's unfortunate for me to ask. If you were to choose the 4 teams that you think just aren't going to make the playoffs, obviously we know one of them. No, we do. Let's not lie. The league knows. Everyone knows. There's a team. We'll let you say it.
Are you writing yourself off already, Will?
No. I just know what you will say.
That is officially full tilt as of
you know
now.
what happens? You know what happens when you assume, right?
It comes true.
No.
No.
Go ahead, Robin.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on the podcast.
You make it A out of you and me.
Yeah. Come on.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but
when you assume this, then you're right. So yeah, you'd be one of the
I know.
teams.
Yep.
No offense, obviously.
Oh, I get it.
It's tough because there's tiers, I think, to the league, but I think it's still very even, and it's still so early in the season, so it's hard to say, who you think is going to miss the playoffs. So
that's what makes it fun.
That is what makes it fun.
Especially if you're an early guest.
there. Unfortunately, he did win it last year. Jordan, I'd say. I do like his team, but I think Dalt misses as well. And he is 2-0, but I'm gonna say Coleman.
That's where it's gonna get fun. It's the people that have the high records.
So like Coleman, he is 2-0.
Yeah, let's hear that.
He is 2-0. I mean, if I pull up his team, I just remember looking at his team and not feeling the best. You just look at something, you're like, oh, I get a good feeling. Yeah, I don't get that with Coleman's team. And he, 2-0, great start, but he also has scored the least, I think, in the league, and has the least scored against on him.
Well, least points other than me.
Well, he hasn't had anybody put up over 100 yet on him. So
I should have beaten him.
Yeah, true.
Which would, I
shouldn't have, but
I will say he is 2-0, and like I said, he's got a solid team, but
when I was doing the rankings, I really thought I was coming around to his team, but he's one of the least deep teams, and that's coming even from me. Like, he's really in trouble if one thing happens. Like, I thought he had a better team than he did, but he is riding Derrick Henry's coattail for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And he also had Mostert out on injury, so going off of that. But yeah, I mean, he's got question marks, to be honest. Like, but these are players that have played well in the first couple of weeks, like Darrell Henderson, Cortland Sutton, Brandon Cooks out of nowhere, to be honest. But yeah, I add him to that list though.
I'm realizing how hard it is to not be a toxic person. Coleman, we love you, and you're 2-0. Congratulations. Thank you for your input, Robin. What's the next question?
So what would be your champion, Robin? That would be interesting to hear.
So did you guys talk about trades already?
No, that's what we're going to talk to you about. Actually,
we will bring that up with you. Yeah,
that's our main.
But
piece.
You're totally welcome to bring something up right now.
So yeah, after all these trades, I actually really like Mike's team. And it's not.
That's an unpopular opinion.
It's not a popular opinion, which I've realized. But I actually really like Mike's team, and I think on paper right now it looks good. So I'm gonna go with Mike.
I appreciate you. I really do.
That is a hot take. I like that. Very hot. I lean on the other side of that. His hat.
Black screen.
I lean on the other side of that slightly, but I see where if it's last year's team and these players did have bad weeks, then yeah. But if 2 weeks actually mean something for half of these players, then so there's an interesting stat that I saw. Just trying to find anything for myself to feel better about beating him because I play him this week, right? And I looked at average points per starting lineup in the league. I was like bottom 4. I think I was 6th at 118 or something like that. The number 9 was still over 110 on their average points for their lineup. Mike's team was below 90. His average, so he's buying low. So his average points per game equates to below 90. It's a stat if you use the desktop version of ESPN. It's a stat that shows up.
That's insane.
So he's bought low. So if that doesn't bite him, he's bought a lot of big name players.
Well,
but if the trends of 2 weeks stay the way that they are, or even close to it, it's going to hurt him bad.
Well, let's get into the specifics of the trade so you can kind of elaborate a little bit more, Robin. So Mike was in 2 pretty big trades this week. He traded with Will for Devontae Smith for CEH. So he received CEH. And then what I assume is the bigger trade that really propelled him up was between him and Logan, where Mike traded off Montgomery, Kupp, and Robbie Anderson, and received Allen Robinson, Najee Harris, and Mike Evans. So what changed your mind about his team, per se?
Yeah, so to be honest, like the team before, I don't think had as much upside. So he made trades, the CEH for Devontae Smith one. It's a starting running back. He hasn't played well the first couple of weeks, but it's also a starting running back on the best offense in the league. So I take that over a rookie wide receiver personally. Will might obviously Will thought, there's probably more upside to Devontae Smith. I'm interested, Will, actually hear your opinion on that.
Well, there's two sides of my brain on that one. Both positive for me.
Oh, that's good.
One side is the tilt version, which is what he has done to me, which is painful, especially considering go into that week. You were there, Robin, at my house watching the games this weekend, where you said, if this game is tied or even close, I like your chances, CEH versus Williams. And not only was it not even close, I got 2 freaking points for CEH.
Do you know what Devontae got?
And Williams, yeah, on a touchdown, they got called back on some bull crap. He had a 50-yard touchdown catch that got called back on a blade of grass because he was out of bounds.
I got you.
That's and target wise, I look for targets in wide receivers because wide receivers will have bad weeks.
I think what's still tough is being this early in the year. It kind of goes back to some questionable trades in the past. Is that's still a first round, second round turn
that
pick.
does you? I cannot let myself, and I've proven that I haven't, which could be a problem, but I can't let myself dwell on that. And not only that, Williams. I mean, I should have gotten absolutely destroyed. Williams fumbled the ball an inch away from the goal line, and somebody else picked it up and scored the touchdown. I mean, it shouldn't even have been close. And that's not something that I picked CEH. If CEH was last year's CEH, I'd take him 4th round. I was hoping for progression from CEH, a touchdown type of progression. He is not going to get him. He's not getting touchdowns. I think his ceiling is 10 points and his floor is still above what he got last week, but I don't think it's higher than it's low. It's low.
What's
ceiling.
your take on the ceiling being 10 points for CEH, Robin?
The
Okay,
ceiling?
not the absolute ceiling, but I think a good game, you can't project him at 10.
I think, go ahead, Robin.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be more than that. They're just going to have a lot of opportunities in the red zone. And yeah, he hasn't gotten the touches, but they can't throw it every time. You know, they have to give him touches at some point, I think.
That's how I thought going into it.
He has like 15 touches a game, though, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he's played a year and 2 games and gotten 4 total touchdowns in his career.
Yeah, that's fine. He's just
at some point you have to believe numbers.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I should have believed him when I drafted him.
No, that's fine.
That's my fault for drafting him.
But
and I don't think I made a trade where it's like I got a great value out of him. I think I got even. I think there's a really good. To be honest, if it wasn't for the stack, I wouldn't have done it.
So I think this brings up an interesting question for Robin. Do you invest in players' names? Like, do you believe in their talent, or do you invest in players that are performing good at the time? Like, for instance, like, what would be a good example, guys? Like, I guess
Smith. I mean,
Devontae Smith had 2 points. I don't think he's a good example. Who's someone that's having an outlier season? I mean, I guess Kupp would be an example.
You were in the other trade. It was Cooper Kupp. He was a late round pick, and he's the number 1 wide receiver right now.
And I don't know if he's the best example, but
let's say Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore's example, playing well.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yes.
It's funny. We did talk about this, I think, a little bit, Mike. So that's a great question. Yeah, I trust in the players, to be honest. I know situationally it could kind of muddy up, you know, how you see a player, but I trust if a player is good, they're gonna get their points, you know, where they're gonna get touches, they're gonna be able to make something out of nothing, you know, things like that. So I trust in players way more than like situation. Personally.
I think there's too far on both spectrums, and I think I am too far on the spectrum of I believe in a person being able to fall off like that because it does happen. But I think there's also the side where the people believe in a name value way too much. So I think you can go too far both ways, and I think there's a chance that me and Mike are both doing both right now, and the chance that neither of us are doing either. Who knows? One thing I will say is that I don't think Moore is a good example because Smith is the number 1 target on the Eagles, and Moore is maybe going to be at the absolute best the second, but I don't think
it's more of the philosophy question. So Zach, what's your take on this?
Yeah, it's really, for me, it comes down to like consistency, and I think that's where I don't even look at the names or the situation. I look at I guess kind of like you said, the player production. I don't care who it is. It brings back a big issue the league had a couple of years ago. It was John Brown. He was 9th in the league, producing every week, and he essentially was kind of matched up in a trade for Julio Jones. And John Brown led someone towards a championship run, and
kind of like Odell. Makes me think of Odell. He had the big catch. You thought, well, he hadn't done much other than that big catch, but he was all of a sudden a hot topic. But he backed that up. But you don't know based off of all this hearsay, everyone talks about him. He's a big name now. Whether he's going to actually produce like a big name would or not.
Well, it's like $87 Elijah Mitchell. I mean, we don't know if he was going to. He got hurt, and
He wasn't.
It's the fantasy podcast. It's a lot. If you want to know what a footballer's team looks like, just look at Will's.
That's not even close to my team. In fact, I don't have my first.
Exactly. You trade away all their my guys away.
I have one pick in the first. I have 2 picks in the first 7.
So I think that brings us to our next trade, Robin, which is Montgomery, Kupp, and Robbie Anderson, who I had. And then I traded Logan for Allen Robinson, Najee Harris, and Mike Evans. What's your take on this?
Yeah, real quick, going back to Rondell Moore, Mike, super upset that you got him $2. I think you bid over my $21. I like Rondell Moore a lot, so I know people.
Hey, out of curiosity, did you listen to the Ballers before putting that bid in?
I don't listen to them. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious because the Ballers were all about him.
Yeah. Back to the trade. So I thought this was actually really even, to be honest. I like the upside, I think, a little bit more actually with Logan's side. So Montgomery, Kupp, especially Kupp, he can go off. And Robbie Anderson, like, he hasn't gotten the targets that I thought he was going to get. So that's kind of scary for me. But he's got big playability, right?
That's what he's back
but
to.
with Mike's side of the trade, I like it a lot better because not a lot better. Sorry about that. I like it a lot because he's got players that are really good, right? It's like going back to like trusting in the player, and that's Allen Robinson, and I think Najee is a great talent, and Mike Evans obviously great wide receiver. So, I think both sides won because it helped their team, but I like the players on Mike's team.
So it comes down to if you're a cynical mind or not, I think, really.
No.
Because for me, I'm cynical.
Maybe.
And I always see a glass as half empty, I think. But I see Najee Harris as, and I don't want to be that way, but I do. I see Najee Harris as James Conner from the last 2 years. And I didn't before the draft, but he looks like James Conner.
Why is that bad? James Conner was like,
no, the last 2 years. No,
he was even good with Dalton until he got hurt.
So
no. Look at it. We won't get into that. James Conner, not good the last 2 years. He was really good the year he replaced Bell out of nowhere, and then was a disappointment. And then I see also, running backs can fall off like that. So I see. I am really concerned with a floor right now, and I see especially someone like Kupp, who Mike traded away, being a insanely high floor player, mainly because he's a not super fast, not super aggressive player that will just be a possession guy which is just a less chance of getting hurt. Wow. Stafford loves him.
No,
that's where I see things like
Breakfast
that. And I think
it
kind of works that way with most of the people that Logan received. I agree with you, Robin, on the end that Mike has a higher upside to this trade by a decent amount, actually. But I think even more than that, he has a much lower floor now than Logan based off the trade.
Okay. So I think there's something to be said on selling high on players, which the Kupp is at the highest it can possibly be. So that is the main reason I did it, was to sell Kupp at the highest possible. Because if this would happen before any of this, there's no way this trade would happen. Allen Robinson was a 3rd round pick. Najee Harris was a 2nd round pick, and Mike Evans was a 4th round pick. I gave up Montgomery, who was a 3rd round pick, Kupp, who was a 5th round, and Robbie Anderson, who was a 7th round. So, and I think there's still something to be said of how you came into the league.
I agree.
And I feel like people get way too biased on what they think. And I'm a very big, you sell high on players that are outperforming, which Kupp is outperforming what he should be. He should not be the number 1. He's going to be great. He's probably be a low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 at the end of the year. But
it's a new, if it was Goff who did this, then I would agree.
Mhm.
But the way it seems right now is that I'm not convinced this is something that ends. And the offense looks very powerful. And I think that's Stafford's number one target.
I think where I'm most shocked by it is I completely agree with what Mike said, completely agree with what Robin said, but when I
Not
think
what Will
of
said.
Mike, I'm shocked because I feel like Montgomery and Cup is the style of player you like.
No,
like,
they are. You know, my
you got
issue?
question marks.
My issue was I scored 95 points and Cup scored 35 points.
But you traded him away.
Yeah, because my team sucked.
So
But if you look at the
I
players
went
that you
for
got
a
in return,
I went for a more dispersed look
Even
instead
but
of
if you
just the
look at
one
the
player.
players
I'm a
you
big
got in
person. Give me
return,
10.
you would have done worse.
Huh?
If you look at the players you got in return, those weeks you would have done even worse.
Yes.
but it's a long season.
I'm projecting that these players are studs.
No, I agree. I'm just
And
making
that
a
I
counterpoint.
sold I sold high on Cup to get the quality of players. This trade doesn't happen if Cup doesn't go off.
I
this
agree.
week. What do you think, Rob?
My one point is that I think maybe Cup stays this way.
I think so. I think that's where people are too focused on is Cup. Honestly, it's a big breakdown. You got to look at each team. But I think as a whole, Mike won the trade.
If everybody could go back and look at my team last week and compare it to now, and you tell me my team's worse, that's okay. I mean, just please look at it and compare it from week 2 to week 3.
Right.
I don't think for a second your team's worse.
Okay.
I'm just stating the way I look at it is I look for, at least right now, I'm looking for higher floor than I'm looking for higher ceiling. And that's why I think very slightly, I think Logan won the trade personally.
Yeah. I think we both won.
But
honestly.
it was a block freaking buster of a trade. I will say that.
And
That's a crazy trade.
just to kind of move on to some of the other trades, Will kind of had a similar approach as Logan, but he did 3 total trades that included his first, second, and third round picks. So he traded with Josh Jacobs to Damian Harris. And then with Kevin, he did a bigger Pittman, Gibson, and Ayuk for Sanders, Marvin, and Gainwell. Where do you see Will's team now? Do you think that was a tilt move? Do you think those were?
Yeah, I'd like to know what you think about that last one in particular, because I'm very curious.
The one with Will and Kevin, or you and Kevin?
Yeah, so I traded away Gibson, Ayuk, and Pittman for Marvin Jones and the Eagles' backfield.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, both trades were, I thought, pretty even. Yeah, there hasn't really been a trade yet this year that kind of like blew my mind. I think everyone that's made a trade, did it and their team got better, right? I like it. I see where you're going with the stack, the Eagles stack of.
I went a little further than I wanted to, but yeah.
That's my concern. I like the trade, but it gets devalued because
Take away
all
that part
Eagles.
of it in general, though. I'm curious what you think about, let's say there's no stacking going on, those players individually.
No, you did good. I mean, Ayuk is a question. Marvin is better than Pittman, especially if Wentz is hurt. And Gibson and Sanders is kind of wash, but
Gibson, I won't lie. I'd like Gibson better.
But yeah, I think you shipped Gibson off too soon. I think you should have held the course, but I think you won. And I just hate that you are so invested in the Eagles.
The problem
now.
was I have to win now. Gibson was a massive trading tool, and Gibson this week plays. I can't remember who it is, but it's bad matchup for Washington. I think it might be Buffalo.
I want to be careful, but I think you're the poster child for tilting.
Right now,
Yeah,
100%. It's the worst it's ever been for me.
Yeah, I've never seen you tilt this much.
I drafted so bad is my problem.
Yeah, I think that's where it started.
I think the problem with that was I didn't watch anything or listen to anything before the draft, and I thought that was going to be my secret to it. I wouldn't overthink things, but holy crap, I just did some stupid stuff. I mean, it was so bad because I think I did that, but I also listened to a couple things, and the couple things I listened to, I just heard the couple hot takes. So it was like a mixture of like, I didn't want to take all the big players that everyone knows the name of, but also I was trying to take like sneaky players that I could have gotten. I don't know. I messed up.
I do have one take because there was one guy you said you wanted in the draft, and he is also underperforming. If you had Jonathan Taylor and everything else was the same, would you have traded Jonathan Taylor this weekend?
No, I'm keeping Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
I want Jonathan Taylor, Kevin.
So
I'll give you Sanders for him.
I'm interested to see what you think of Kevin's team, Robin. With this trade, do you think he got better, or are you worried?
To be honest, I think like I said, I think he made his team better. I like Gibson a lot, but it really hasn't changed in my opinion. I think he's still a top team in the league with his high upside with his players.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sanders carries an injury concern. He's banking on Gibson and getting better, but Marvin was a bench player. So
yeah, I agree.
He had Marvin starting actually.
Did he this time?
And I'm curious who he replaced with. And
Pittman.
I think Pittman's not a good start right now. You're going to have to wait till Carson's back to good to go. Whether or not he starts this week doesn't mean he's good to go. That guy's got 2 sprained ankles. That's a lot of sprained ankles.
A lot. That's as many as you can have.
Yeah.
Well, Robin, we enjoy getting your takes on that. We want to
I kind of want to. What do you think of Jacobs and Damian Harris?
So yeah, Jacobs kind of scares me too, but he is the guy there. And usually you can't trust Patriots running backs, but I thought it was good because Damon Harris does look good. He did run really well, and they seem to give him the ball a lot. So I said, all these trades were even.
I think we've gotten to a point where we're afraid to trust Patriots running backs more than we did. I think there's 2 reasons. I think one, Brady is not there now,
and
so you have to rely on a little bit more. And Cam Newton, who vultures rushing, and also we're forgetting about people like LeGarrette Blount, who not that long ago was an incredible running back to own for the Patriots. I think there was a solid 3 to 4 years where it was absolutely you didn't want to do it, but I'm not willing. It's working out for me so far, and I mean this Jacobs guy is banged up. I am happy as hell that I don't have him.
Yeah, that's rough. I think I was shocked because that showed the start of what we're perceiving as your tilt. So I was trying to read through it.
Robin sent it to give tilt.
Yeah.
No more Raiders.
But I do like the trade. Damien, the Patriots running back room got smaller. But Josh Jacobs fell into the end zone sick 2 times. So, but you got to win now. So I completely understand the trade as a whole. So, well, that week's over. We got the new teams together. So, Robin, we're going to go through the week 3 matchups and the sportsbooks odds and kind of get your take on who you think's going to take the bag, get the win.
Sweet, let's do it.
If you have like a mascot thing, you can put that on for each pick too if you want.
Game day.
You know what I do have?
Oh, hell yeah.
We should all get teams.
He's gone. He's back.
He's gone.
Oh. Go Pack Go, baby.
Go Pack
Go
Go.
Pack Go.
How's the cheese going to work on this? It's
Aaron Jones.
trying to stay there. All right, staying.
Wild.
Aaron Jones.
Wild.
He's a stud.
I will say that matchup for Brad. We were racing at the time on F1, and I kept looking at the phone. And I kept telling Mike, Jones got another touchdown. I said it over and over again. Oh, Jones got another touchdown. It just kept happening. It was the weirdest thing.
You a happier Packers fan now?
Am I happy I'm a Packers fan?
Well, no, happier. Like, are you?
Happier.
Are you watching week 1?
That's a bad question.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
happier.
Oh, for sure. But the defense looked so bad, which is disappointing. But to have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams on your team, like after that game, it's a little bit more promising. So definitely a little happier.
Devontae Adams guaranteed a touchdown this week. I bet my firstborn child on it.
Oh.
I won't bet against that.
I'm not having kids, so
I don't want your firstborn child, so I'm not gonna make a bet either. But moving into week 3, we have Kevin as a favorite at -125 going against myself as the underdog at +120 with an over and under of 235.5. What's your guys' takes on this game? Kevin had a disappointing loss, and I had a disappointing win.
What do you think, Robin?
So, I mean, if we're basing it off of the first couple of weeks, Kevin did lose last week, but what was he, like the second highest scorer? So
Somewhere in there,
Yeah.
he's pretty solid. Kyler's so good, man. I gotta go Kevin here.
Yep. I'm on that side as well.
I'm on the Kevin train as well. So yeah, sorry, Zach.
I have the hope if something's gonna happen. I really do, but Kevin would be my pick if I was from the outside. His team is clicking right now, but his depth is a little scary as well. So
Yeah, next matchup. I think we have Brad and yourself.
Mm,
Is that the matchup? Yeah, it
matchup
is.
of the week for sure.
So,
This matchup of the week.
yeah,
Robin, you're favored, but very slightly. The money line to take Brad would be plus 110. To take Robin minus 115. Over under is 242. Am I reading that correctly?
On a
242 and a
side
half?
note, the projections are insane this week.
Yeah.
Everybody's projected like 120. You know how hard that
Ooh.
is?
that's gonna be hard for
Yeah.
you guys.
We
That's a
haven't
tough
won
one.
yet.
I may
We
take
haven't
the
won
under
a
in
wet
that one.
bet yet.
I
So.
may take, although it seems like the NFL is due for an up week after last week.
I will say too, looking at the sports book, you have no pushes. Everyone, there's a favorite and an underdog.
Yeah, 'cause-
officially.
I mean, that's
Yep.
Yeah.
there's a couple pretty much pushes.
Yeah.
You're winning about $1 if you bet $1.
I have a question, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're allowed to say this because of client confidentiality, but has Brad bet on himself
Every
every
time.
week?
And
and he's won?
Brad
Oh,
has the most
gosh.
money. I think he's made 15.
Oh wow, that's crazy. And
You
we
can
gotta
bet
do-
on yourself.
You got to
always.
do it again this week, right?
Oh yeah, you got to.
He's the underdog too.
Yeah,
And
he's been the
the
underdog every week.
Hey, Brad, good luck, man. I'm nervous to be honest. So
Personally, I ranked you two the highest. Both of you were in my top two.
I would say most league did. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kevin was in that.
I had Kevin
Yeah.
in there, but I moved you up,
Um,
Robin. I'm respecting you now.
No, he's been hating. What do you think of that?
I actually mentioned would you come over last Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mentioned it. I was like, Zach, you're not giving my team any love. He's like, I don't know, man. I gotta see it. So I don't know where you ranked this week, but hopefully it was a little better.
He got you all the way up to 7th.
I never had him below 4th. I just felt there was a different tier, and that tier has disappointed me severely. So
Well, I'm taking Robin in this matchup slightly, very slightly, just because I looked at it beforehand. I like his matchups a little bit and his
matchups are
players. Player wise, I like Brad's a little bit more. I still ranked you. I won't say it. I ranked you high, than someone. But this week I like Brad. What do you guys think?
Wait, you like Brad or
I'm sorry, I like you.
I'm gonna follow off that because I like Brad, and I do not think he's the better team. I think he's running with just something right now. And looking at his matchups, it's going to continue because the only people that have bad matchups are the Chiefs, and they're matchup proof. Mahomes proves that. So I think Brad wins, and I might bet on Brad myself.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
We need to win. I'm personally going with you, Robin. I think your team is close to complete. The only question mark
Big
for
Chubb
me,
week.
dude, I wish I would pick Chubb.
Big
so
Chubb
much,
week.
so much, but it is what it is. Flex
could've
2,
been-
T.
could've
Higgins
been
is my
full
only
Chubb.
question mark on your team. So
Who do you think, Robin?
I will say I'm not gonna say who I think is gonna win, but just a couple of points. You guys mentioned it on the first week about how you thought my team was like very, very safe, right? It's like it's got a nice floor, and I think that's so true. It's like even the past couple of weeks, I haven't really had anyone pop off. It's been nice. Everyone's just been consistent, right?
You're always consistent.
Brad-
Hence why I like your team so much.
Yeah, I guess so. But Brad's team's got so much upside that Mahomes and Hill stack. I mean,
It's also a
Aaron's
scary team, though.
obviously-
Brad's a live or die by. Luckily, he had the live by one player, but
Yeah.
he's a live or
Yeah.
die team. You
That's
guys are
what it is.
very opposite.
Exactly. So
Good
he's got
matchup.
that high upside. Aaron Jones can go for 4 touchdowns anytime he wants.
Or
So
2
he's-
points.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Or 2 points, exactly. But he's got a good team.
He does.
So I think that moves us into the next one, which is Coleman versus Logan. And this is pretty much a pick 'em, with Coleman being the slight favorite at -110 and Logan being at +105. And the over-under in this game is 234.5. Who you got, Robin?
Sweet. I'll take this time to say I do like Coleman's team. I did say I thought he was going to be one of the 4 out, but I do like his team. And whenever you have big Derrick Henry, man, it's just so hard to bet against that. And Herbert will go against the Chiefs. Hopefully, he can show something because he was so high on him. So I'll go Coleman here.
Ooh.
Herbert is doing worse than I even realized.
Yeah,
He's due though.
He is, yeah.
What do you guys think?
I think Logan. I just see so many question marks with Coleman's team, and I don't want to go against you too much here, Coleman, but you put up 45 with Derrick Henry, only scored 118. I think that's a little bit of an issue. I don't know. I just see some question marks, and I like your team too. Love Diggs, love Allen, love Henry, love Herbert. Those other pieces I have question marks on, so I'm gonna pick Zeke here. And roll with that. So
I do like Coleman's team, but this week my concern is Henderson for the Rams. I think he's due for Keenan Allen and Diggs and Herbert to pop off a little bit more, but I don't think he can match Lockett and Cup. And then the Cowboys playing a primetime game. It's gonna look like that week 1 matchup for him again. So Logan for me.
I would like to bet the chip on that one 100%. If any of you guys are interested in that.
So Robin, we have a Carolina Reaper chip here, and for everybody that's watching. So do you want to take that bet?
Unfortunately, I have to bet for Coleman, but I like to bet it against any of you.
So
if anybody
you're
take
taking Coleman, and then
I think Coleman wins pretty easily.
Oh my! Give me a spread. Give me a spread if you're going to say easily.
I'll give you 7.5.
7.5.
Deal. Chip.
All right.
Wow, 7.5.
So how
7.5. Coleman wins. Also, the loser has to take this chip live on podcast. By the way, I don't know if we
I'm a
mentioned.
little
that.
nervous, but
And this chip is supposedly death.
Oh gosh, Coleman is projected to win.
Yeah.
Huh. Whoops. One chip challenge. Carolina Reaping, Scorpion Pepper.
Yeah, I think the plan is whoever ends up taking it has to do an intro attempt and answer some fantasy football questions. But from what I've seen on YouTube, eating this chip, it's hard to function. So we'll see. Cool. It'll be fun when you eat it.
I mean, I'm not gonna lose
next week.
Logan, help me out.
Last matchup. Zach, you want to take this one, my friend?
Did you pick that one, Robin?
2 more.
Yeah, I said Coleman.
Okay.
Coleman, we're split. So the last match,
there's 2.
Two more matchups.
Yep. I will take matchup number 5 just because it contains these 2 guys.
So
here.
We got Dolphin versus Jordan, which with Dolphin being a heavy favorite at -170, and Jordan would be at +140, over under at 230.5. What do you got, Will?
Oh, I have Jordan. I think Jordan can't keep putting up these points. I haven't looked at this matchup too closely, but he can't keep putting up the points and losing. Jordan.
He only scored 98 last week, though. Just FYI.
But wasn't it because his quarterback did nothing?
Yeah, pretty much. Who do you think, Robin?
His quarterback.
Jordan's quarterback. He is Tom Brady.
Quarterback. Oh yeah, Brady.
Tom Brady. Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I haven't looked hard enough. You have it up?
It's right there.
You guys pick.
Dalt's team is a little rough right now. He is starting Boyd and Hardman. I know they had the points. You have the Mike Davis situation in Atlanta. This is
Dalton. I'll bet the chip again. Look at the matchups. Easy. Brady plays the Rams. Dalton.
I'm taking Jordan. Bet the chip again. 2 chip bet.
How many chips do you guys have?
No, we only got the one.
Who you got, Robin?
I like Dalt's team, other than Boyd and Mecole Hardman, but which are 2 flexes. But no, I mean they're both good teams, good names. I'm gonna go Dalt here too.
So the sports book likes Dalton. So I think I'm gonna go with Jordan.
Opposite
part
of
of
the
the
sports
sports
book.
book.
Yeah.
I thought that was you. You're in the sport. Hey,
We've lost. every
hammer that
bet.
bet. Hammer it. Hammer it. What's the odds?
It was +1.
It's actually okay
40.
odds
Yeah,
here
it's
for
good
Jordan.
odds.
Logan must really like Jordan a lot.
No, me and Logan put them together. So
Yeah.
But Mike
Hey,
likes
Mike.
Jordan.
On this matchup, let's bet a Qdoba burrito.
let's do it. Hell yes.
Oh.
I'll take Jordan.
Yeah, I'll
For
take.
sure.
I'll
That's
take
what you took, Dalton.
Money
Okay,
line.
let's do it. Money line. Money
I
line.
like it.
Let's do it.
All right, cool.
Woo!
Qdoba burrito.
Man, that sounds good. And then the final matchup of the week, another podcast bowl, probably a poop bowl under 100 scoring, is Mike as a favorite, heavy favorite at -250, and Will as an underdog at +160 with a lower over under of 225.5. Robin, what's your thoughts?
I don't think I need an explanation. No offense, but I'm gonna go Mike here. That's just my opinion. But
I think you've said it. That's your guy. If he's going to get a championship, he cannot
Right,
start
exactly.
1 and 2.
Yeah, I can though.
Nah.
Yeah, I could. Yeah. I think I'm gonna win that.
Well, what have you done? It's Mike.
But I think it will be closer than what we think, honestly. I like his matchups actually a lot.
So
Which,
what's the
other
spread?
than
He called us a fucking. Oh no.
Is there a
You
spread on
did
that?
it.
You knew what you were about to say. You stop. What?
Poop bowl.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the poop bowl last week. I got over 100.
You
Huh?
got 100.
He
I
didn't.
got 108.
He didn't get 100 last week.
My team's completely
I
different.
would have beat him last week.
Uh,
Yeah, that's right. I would have beat him last week.
And
And I'm
that's
beating
who
him with
you're
his own
playing.
players. I'm beating him with his own players.
So, how much you believe in the Eagles this weekend?
Not that much.
Okay.
You're playing Dallas.
50-50 for me.
Playing Dallas.
Hopefully I win.
And we do have a prop bet for the week.
This one's interesting.
Yeah. I thought this was interesting. Me and Logan put this
Kind
together.
of explain it, I think.
Yeah, I will. So the number of defeated teams, which are 0 or 0-2, and those teams are Will, Jordan, and Logan. You can only bet on one option. So this will be the number of teams that remain defeated. Will it be 0? Will everyone get a win this week at +300? Will it be 1 at +200? 2 at -100? 3 at +300, indicating that everyone loses, that it is defeated right now.
None of them have a matchup against each other, so
Nope.
they have the opportunity. Wow.
Mm.
That's an
So it's
interesting one.
Logan, Will, and who?
Jordan.
Jordan,
And Jordan.
team defeated right now.
Interesting.
Would you like to place a live bet on air? Go ahead.
I haven't bet yet.
No pressure.
Oh,
yeah, he's
You
not
should have
bad.
bet last week, though, right?
On who?
Didn't I hear a Coleman bet potentially?
Oh yeah, that's why I wanted
Should have
that.
sent it in.
Yeah.
I know, and I was trying to get that in before Thursday, and then the game started. But yeah, I did want that.
Okay.
I would have to look at that for a while before I chose what to do
That's
on
a
that
tough one.
one.
It's interesting.
makes it
I
interesting.
want to get on a prop bet for sure. Robin, how'd you enjoy being on the podcast?
It was a time, man. I appreciate you guys letting me come on. It's hard. So you guys doing this every week. It's awesome. And I don't know if we mentioned this yet, but I did start one with my college buddies,
That's
and
awesome.
it's just so much more engaging, and they love it. So thank you guys for doing this.
Yeah,
Good.
send it in the group chat. I think everybody would like to see it. So
He's nervous.
I think
Yeah,
Yeah,
a couple
I might
weeks
have to
in.
do a couple before I send
Yeah.
it in. Let anyone hear.
that's fine. Yeah.
But-
Hey, that's how I felt.
I'm glad
Actually, the
we're-
first year and a half.
Inspiring the youth to go out and chase their dreams. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, we're inspiring the
Yeah.
youth.
Inspiring the youth. We're like the oldest.
Yeah.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see.
you
how
two are the
things
only ones
change
older than
when we
me, I
get them
think.
back on. So,
Yeah,
yeah. Thanks for your time, Robin. We appreciate everything.
Yep. Thanks for being
All right.
on, Full Chub. Hopefully you remain as hard as you have been all year long.
Hopefully,
no
I get
longer-
one of these at the end of the year, Mike.
Oh,
We
Bring
can
that
get rid of
back to
closing
back.
it out with a championship ring.
Balls life. Balls life.
Come on.
All right, boys.
Well, thanks
peace.
again.
Thanks, man.
Bye, everybody. We love you.
Yep.
Enjoy
See
this
you
new
next week.
closeout music that Michael has provided.
It's a jam.
Thanks.